From November 4th to 7th, 2019, members of the Natural Resources Committee of Parliament visited Kabarore, Kamwenge and Chitagwenda districts to see the current appalling status of water and environment resources use and management in Rwenzori Region. The visit was equally used to share key findings on water resources management and the contribution of CSOs in the sustainable use and management of Uganda's water resources in Kabarore and Kamwenge districts. The activity opened with a meeting at Kalia Courts Hotel on November 5th to set objectives and outputs of the field visit, and was attended by members of parliament, civil society organizations, media, Kabarore and Chitagwenda districts' local government representatives, and the Ministry of Water and Environment representatives.
The expected outcome of the 2 days is what is the general outcome that will come out of this meeting. So, and the aim is if you can have such, what we've already done, identify what we're going to do, the roadmap. So it would be good to have an overall to the outcome in addition to the petition as a specific issue, or
we could use the same meeting for addressing other concerns. Yes. So on top of the petition, we shall also look at other issues generated for the parliamentary consumption. Then we also move along with them.
We know that as a country, we subscribe to the Sustainable Development Goal. And the goal number 6 talks about clean water and sanitation, which I am seeing is really very pertinent and very important, that once we have sustainable use of water resources in our country, we shall be able to develop and achieve and also mitigate the social costs that we shall incur in case we have or we mismanage the environmental and water resources that we have.
This from Agenda 21, Chapter 18, we acknowledge that the quality of water should be at the center stage on managing water resources. And of course, this is interrelated to the land, how it should be well managed within the catchment system.
We have a bigger challenge of weak governance of the natural resources, poor and unsustainable land use practices, and overall ecosystem degradation, which is a challenge everywhere. We have got the River Mpanga, lakeshore and wetland degradation, as has been alluded by the earlier presenters. There is variable climate in the catchment. There is siltation of water bodies, pollution, both at commercial and community levels. Now, for us to interface with these challenges, we have to divide the river into 3 components. We have activities in the upstream of the river, we have activities in the midstream of the river, and we have activities downstream the river. And this one helps us to address specific challenges at various levels of the stream. Now, in the upstream, we have, as a catchment management committee, we have strategically gone into the following interventions. One is catchment conservation. We are doing promotion of sustainable agricultural and land use management. Why are we doing this? We are not going to tell people stop encroaching on the riverbanks, stop destroying the riverbanks without giving them an alternative.
Many of the problems we have in this country, they are as a result of us doing so little, and being comfortable with the little that we are doing. Let us wake up from that slumber. Let us now move and really deal with these scientific issues, because science has no shortcuts.
We have made so many worker plans, we have sunk in colossal sums of money, we have done a sensitization about environmental issues, protection of the river banks and the lake shores, and practically when we swing into action, we see restrictive arms coming. Right now there is an issue pertaining to Mashoro. My first visit to Mashoro, people were cultivating up to the edge of the lake. And whatever they removed from their gardens, they were throwing into the lake. Yes. I called the chief and the environment officer. What is happening? Yes. I said, what is this happening? Now I told the chief, can we do something to make sure these people move away from the lake? people were fired, and they even promised to wrap up my chief and whip him. So what is on the ground? He also swung into action and removed them forcefully. But there is an issue now coming in. Politics! Yes. We cannot see the lake get depleted when we are feeling such a kind of allegations.
Your duty as a leader is to find alternatives where these people should go. But you see, I can't understand, you know, when you say these leaders, they come and of course for them, they are looking at short-term gains. Short-term in terms of the vote.
When you have an issue in a committee, go and attend. Give your issues. You cannot not vote if you are not in that committee. For instance, right now, this is the person who is in that committee directly. But both of us have serious interest in that committee. We go and influence.
So you cannot just move in isolation. So I think what we need is to repackage our environmental message in terms of the economics. But you see, people have grown up thinking water is a free good.
Even if funds were available, yes, in our treasury, but the mindset of people who determine the direction of how things are done in the country does not appreciate the environment and its services. Money will never be voted for that purpose.
After the meeting, participants visited Kalangula sub-county to see the efforts made by CSOs and the local government to prevent the destruction of River Mpanga. Members were able to see efforts of regeneration of the buffer zone of River Mpanga, degradation of the tributaries of the river.
What we've seen is stone quarrying, is sand mining. All those affect the water source, especially with siltation. Stones and sand, they raise the river bed, and this sand somehow is carried downstream to Kamwenge Lake George, and it affects fishing in the breeding areas of the fishing in Kamwenge site. So government has to up its game by approaching the people who are polluting the river up in Karangura by giving them alternatives.
I found that I have 145 people in my sub-county that have their lands stretching to the water bank. So what I did, I called them for a meeting in which I also called the district environmental officer. He came, so we sat with them, we communicated to them the dangers of not protecting the water, and if it is finished, the challenges they are going to face. So they agreed with me, because they are the people who used to give the lands to stone quarrying groups. So when I mobilized them, they stopped, and now in due course we are trying to bring several NGOs like Satnet. It is already on ground, training them good agronomic practices, actually making terraces, planting trees along the river bank that are environmental friendly. In doing so, I'm seeing the community is not rigid in doing so, and I'm seeing a change on the river as it was before I came on power.
What I felt I have learned is that once we involve all the key stakeholders and we realize, we change the mindset of our people to believe that these natural resources can be utilized and utilized in a proper way for our own benefit, then you'll find that people can change, can run away from abusing these natural resources. We have better laws that we can utilize. If we enforce those laws, we shall be able to rejuvenate most of our natural resources, and those natural resources can help us transform this country, can help us fight poverty. Many of these people who live around the swamps, our wetlands, our rivers, actually need alternative source of lives. Once we get an alternative source of life for these people, it's very easy to make them abandon the bad practices that they have been using to deplete our lakes, to deplete our rivers, and to affect the conservation of our natural resources.
there has to be a plan through which UNRWA can be brought on board to make sure that there is a bridge, and then this protects the water. But you see now, when they look at this as a rural, small road, they are not making economic sense out of it. They don't see the environment importance of this. So at the end of the day, this doesn't fall into the priorities. That's why it is so absurd to come and then you have nowhere to pass. And finding people just using one log to cross the water is something which you cannot comprehend.
From Mpanga River, the team visited the obstruction point of the National Water and Sewage Corporation, where a number of issues were observed.
It's only you people who know what has happened. So how do we protect the community?
They know through the hospitals. So even when people you are saying you are giving them, quantity in terms of adequate water supply, but which is contaminated, you are actually
giving quantity of disease.
You are increasing on the rate of typhoid supply. Because why do you have a water scheme without a treatment mechanism for the water? Why should National Water treat water and the people in the cities are able to get clean water? Then the ones in the rural areas are confined to contaminated water. Does that really make sense? Actually, they are the biggest voters of this country when it comes to voting government.
And I even discovered, Honorable Alex, that people in the rural die so much as compared to those in the what? Now I know the reason. The water by national water is clean. Now the other water is not taken care of.
Well, in 2012, before the intervention of Water for People, the Buguli sub-county was a water-stressed sub-county in the whole district. We were at 23% safe water coverage. And all wetlands in the Buguli sub-county were distracted. But after the intervention of Water for People, and after drilling the first schemes at the sub-county and the district, we looked into the sustainability of our sources. So what we did as sub-county leadership and the district, we began by sensitizing our communities the benefits of restoring our wetlands and the dangers when these wetlands remain destructive. And peacefully, they withdrew their activities in the wetlands. Most of the communities had planted eucalyptus. They saw when they planted eucalyptus in the wetlands, they grew up very quickly, so they get money from eucalyptus as quickly as possible. But they did not know the dangers of planting eucalyptus in wetlands. Others, they had burnt them with the intention of planting there some crops, farms. But as I told you, when you reach in our wetlands, you become very happy. As we talk, most of our communities have benefited from them. Some of them, it's now a business. They are getting mud fish in those wetlands. They take them to Kampala as a business now. Others, now they have fish pond on the reservoir. Others, they are cutting grass from those wetlands to manage the bananas. So, the importance of the wetlands, our communities here have realized it. That was done through the efforts of the sub-county, the district, and support from Water for People as NG.
Here in Kamwenge, we have a district investment plan that fully stipulates what we need to reach everyone, to ensure everyone, every family, every household, every school come 2030 have access to safe clean water, but again, services that will last a lifetime, whereby the natural resources are conserved. There are 8 systems, piped water supply systems, that the local government working with Water for People, we have installed in this sub-county, and the last 2 will be completed at the end of this calendar year. Communities have complied to leave the wetlands to sustain the water resource. It's important that they get a livelihood, because what takes them there is they anticipate that maybe they will get an income, which is also not sustainable once they dry. So they have gotten fish farming.
You know, service delivery, most especially in terms of public service delivery, is not only by government, but when we collaborate with other NGOs, with the civil society organizations, it is possible to achieve. And I think this will be a living example for our country. Thank you very much.
The approach that we have used as a district is a multi-sector approach. For example, we have first of all made everyone appreciate the loss so far that we have experienced as a district. For us as technical people, we sensitized our leaders to, again, for the leaders to go and talk to the electorates. They believe in them in a joint form. For us, we arm them with the technical knowledge, simplified, for them to understand and transform it into their local language. Some old men who were present in some of these areas during these forests, when these forests and the wetlands were not already tampered with, could give testimonies. And these testimonies would convince our leaders to join those other elders in respect to conservation of the wetlands.
We have also done demarcation of 41 wetlands now throughout the district. Of course, we have not finished all. And that one, I think, to me, I reasonably believe it has yielded enormous results. Because people now are aware that they should not destroy those ecosystems. Quick.
You see all this wetland? A year ago, it was all gardens. But upon sensitizing the community and all these processes, you can see now what has happened. And the community is very happy about it. They are now enjoying the benefits. They are getting fish. The mud fish is back. And the vegetation, they are picking it for marriages. So they are really enjoying. Now they are ambassadors of conservation.
And I want to believe things are going to happen. The fact that the people, the local leaders here have already started championing many issues, for us we shall just give them the backup. And you will see change.
We shall always push and advocate and lobby for government to increase more funding and see that we ensure that most of this, the gaps that we are seeing in the field are closed, and we realize that we are able to sustain and mitigate the social costs that our people normally face as a result of abusing our natural resources.
In order to expand our budget for water, it needs efforts that are coming from across the board. The Ministry of Water, the executive, which is headed by the President, the Parliament of Uganda, the various forces, the Ministry of Finance, all the National Planning Authority, and we also you have to make sure that in the forthcoming NDP3, these issues that we are talking about are captured, because that is what the country will be implementing once it passed.
As a Member of Parliament, my commitment is to work together with the local leaders, because without them we cannot we can't work in isolation. Otherwise it becomes hard to challenge the people who are encroaching. However, the most important thing is finding alternative. This work will be easy and it is achievable.